I gotta hit my music. All right, you got this, thoughts. You got this. You strong. Okay. This message is for my wrestling fans. When asked if you have enough weekly wrestling to consume, you looked at a shooting star, you believed in yourself, and you recited this chant here.
We want some more! We want some more! We want some more!
You said we wanted some more. So after all the praying, the fasting, looking for four-leaf clovers, finding rabbit foots or feet, our prayers were finally answered. We were given, no, we were blessed with a 3-hour episode of SmackDown on January of this year. Such a beautiful moment. And our best friend, 3 hours of SmackDown, has provided something not even our best friends can provide. For those of you who do not like your family, that wanted to be away from your girlfriend or boyfriend, your wife or your husband, or the kids for an extra hour, 3 hours of SmackDown provided that. That's love. For those of you who are introverts like myself, that needed that extra hour as an excuse to not hang out with people. Those friends that say, hey, let's go outside and do something. Let's spend money. No, I don't have it. A healthy 3-hour episode of SmackDown provided us an escape. I gotta hit the music because I don't have it on loop. Greater than a friend, the 3-hour SmackDown was. But now, with a heavy heart, I have to provide this unfortunate news that I hate doing at this moment. On July 4th, that'll be the last day we will see our friend 3-hour SmackDown. And I don't know what sick group of people decided to do this on July 4th. Independence Day. I don't feel free. I feel captive. I need more wrestling. I need it. But those fools decided to take it away from us. So, I would like to say, as we lay SmackDown to rest, sunrise in January 2025, sunset July 2025. My suggestion to you, no, my encouragement is this. When you watch that final 3 hours episode of SmackDown, hold it close. Tell it you love it, because you never know when we'll see it again. As the wise words of old Kanye West said, you never know what you got till it's gone. I know I got it. I don't know what y'all on. So, in the upcoming weeks, 3-hour SmackDown will be smiling down at us. For those who miss it, and I'm sure it misses us too. This is great timing. But for the rest of us, we're good. We're good. We're good. Yes, we're happy, bro. We have been praying. We've been going through it. Trials and tribulations, struggle and suffering. Our prayers have been answered, especially for the old head live streamers and content creators. You know, you happy about this because now we get to go to bed at a decent time. It is so beautiful. And for people, the older old heads, the silver foxes, right? You guys got more time to get that icy hot ready. You know what I'm saying? You got more time to get that icy hot ready, and you got time to get that WD-40 PB Blaster, whatever you want to use, to put on them joints. Put some Crisco on them joints so you walk around the house, it don't sound like somebody microwaving popcorn. You know, if you're wondering why whenever you walk around the house, you get the kids coming out the room sniffing, like, hey, who's making pop? It's your joints. It's your joints. So we got more time in order to do that. So let's just be serious for a little bit, all right? You guys, because you guys know that the IWC, for the most part, don't like people joking around. At least from what I understand. I don't know. I don't be on Twitter. Who knows? But when it comes to SmackDown going from 3 to 2 hours, I think this is an amazing thing. This is going to do a whole lot for SmackDown product. Now, before going to 3 hours, it wasn't like SmackDown was amazing every week. Raw was still the better show, but it was a little bit more digestible because it had a little bit of time on TV, you know? When it was switched over from 2 hours to 3 hours, I was excited about it because I was just thinking about the opportunities that can come out of this. I was like, you know what? We just got a new women's US championship, so we got time to justify that title to be around and flesh out a storyline around it. We could do the same for the tag division, the same for the men's mid-card title, the same for the undisputed championship, right? So I'm assuming, and then also because I'm a huge fan of the wrestlers, not of just the promotion, we get to see more wrestlers get to be on screen and get, you know, developed. They get an opportunity to be on TV, and if they get over with the fans, maybe their next contract they can make more money. So I was like, this could be really great if done right. But unfortunately, a lot of the shows haven't been that great. They haven't all been terrible, but they have been this. MJF, tell us what those shows have been. It's been kind of mid. Now, we have gotten some great shows. I don't want to be one of those Debbie Downers that's always talking down about WWE. We've had some great episodes of SmackDown, namely the most recent ones. We saw what happened on SmackDown this past Friday, SmackDown going into Money in the Bank. I thought those were really, really strong episodes. Now, we got to give some credit, and I don't want to take away anything from them, but we got to focus on the obvious thing. SmackDown in both shows got a lot of help from wrestlers over from WWE Raw. Not saying that the wrestlers on SmackDown aren't any good. I'm just saying that it pretty much helped the creative team have things where they didn't have to figure anything out. I mean, if you look at last week's episode of SmackDown or what just happened 2 days ago, what do we get? John Cena and CM Punk, where CM Punk is a guy from Raw. Now, granted, John Cena cut the promo, so you got to give him the credit. But I'm just saying the involvement of Raw wrestlers. And it's obvious why that happened because they're having their match at Night of Champions. We had a tournament match between Randy Orton and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, a Raw guy. Tournament match between Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Asuka, she's from Raw. We had the whole involvement from the Seth Rollins faction. They're from Raw. So what I'm saying is that SmackDown showed us that they can't handle a 3-hour episode of Raw. You know, I think we got the idea of that in like the first month that they went 3 hours because I was like, you know what? They just started. Maybe they don't know what to do because they're used to 2 hours and they're just trying to get their feet wet. But as months went on, it was fairly obvious that they didn't know what to do with that 3-hour episode of Raw because we got a lot of filler matches that kind of didn't really make all the sense in the world. And in segments where it would just be a random breakaway brawl and Nick Aldis would come out and say, hey, everybody's up here. You're all going to fight tonight since you want to fight. And it just felt like everything was just thrown together. It felt like nothing was really thought about as opposed to Monday Night Raw, which things there isn't always perfect, but when Raw is consistently, it's been consistently pretty good. It's been consistently pretty good. And you can't really say about, you know, SmackDown. Now, the sad thing about the show on SmackDown is that I feel like the only ones who really benefited off the 3 hours, which in a sense isn't a sad thing, is the tag division. And if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of the tag division. And this was great for them, right? It felt like they actually cared about that division outside of the fact that they keep leaving them off PLEs. That's a whole different story. I know New Day was at WrestleMania. I know we had a tag match at Royal Rumble, but we need more of that. But as far as the division go, it felt like everyone in that division mattered because they all got TV time. We had one of the greatest TLC matches of all time on SmackDown. You know, even though the title got hopped around, it felt like anything can happen every single week that we got a tag team match. And now we got the YS6 coming up against the Street Profits for the title next week. More things is interesting that's happening with that. So I am really happy and excited about what they did with that division. We got to just add some storylines in there. That's the only final touch we need on this side of it. But overall, I felt like the way they've handled the Women's US Championship, they haven't done a great job with it. You know, I love Zelina Vega. I love Chelsea Green, but I feel like they didn't build any interesting storylines around it as opposed to what we see right now with Lyra Valkyria and her whole situation. Now, granted, Raw wasn't doing great with the Women's IC Championship, but they found a way to kind of give us something interesting. In fact, what they got going on with Lyra is probably the most interesting thing they got going on with the main championship currently in WWE, in my personal opinion. But as far as the women's champion, as far as Tiffany Stratton, they haven't done anything really interesting with her. Again, it's not her fault. It's the booking, the women's tag team division. They haven't really, I mean, with the men's US championship, I mean, we had some matches, but overall, as far as storyline goes, it hasn't really been that great. So Going back to 2 hours would be great for the product because it'll be a lot easier to digest. It's early in the morning, sorry. It'd be easier to digest the whole thing, but also on top of that, the part that I'm concerned about is what wrestlers are losing TV time. You know, is the tag team division now going to get cut out of the shows because it's only 2 hours? Because that's one of the main things that we would get a lot on weekly episodes of Friday Night SmackDown. Does this mean that some of those people from the tag division get transitioned over to Monday Night Raw since they won't have time to be on TV? I don't know. I see pros and cons from both ways, but overall, I really believe that Friday Night SmackDown being 3 hours was a really missed opportunity. We got to figure it out. You know, if they do 3 hours again, hopefully they get some people from creative over in Raw come over to SmackDown and help them out because Raw know what they're doing. Even though every episode of Raw isn't actually 3 hours, sometimes they stop at 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But they at least have some level of consistency that I think can actually help hide some of the bad things that's happening on Friday Night SmackDown. But overall, I'm happy about SmackDown being 2 hours. I think that's a great choice, a great move. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a good day.